Now, if you have paid any attention to the significance of this story, why Jagan selected this particular page from Bhagavad Gita just to tell the story to the cooks itself is an interesting question, right? Did you pay enough attention just to find out the hidden motives here, right? The thing is here, actually, even it's a story about Arjun, right? The great warrior fighting his own uncles in the opposite side, and the god's advice is that you have to fight your brothers, cousins, uncles, or even sons, right? If you are to achieve good, right? What does it mean? Like, what is the significance of this story? If you really think, Jagan is in a some kind of situation like that, right? So who is the Arjun here? In other words, right? It's like Jagan, right? Who is the but I mean, uncles here. It's like cousin and Grace, right? Yeah, not cousin actually. It's like Grace and Mali, right? They are the enemies. So in other words, if as a father he has to make the right decision, he has to make it. Doesn't matter it's against his son, against his daughter-in-law, or against anyone on the other side, right? As long as his decision is right, he has to stick with it. He has to fight for it. So maybe that's the hidden parallel here, right? It's not said, but you have to ask the question, interesting question. Why this story from Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita has other references as well, right? So many other stories. So why he selected this story particularly to tell his cooks is something interesting if you really pay attention to that. But again, he gives another nice line, right? There's no such thing as reading this book finally. It is it is something to be read all one's life. Mahatma Gandhi read it to us every day. Was it because he did not know it or thought we did not? Right, there you go. So Jagan also added like, right? I mean, like a book like Bhagavad Gita cannot be read one time and kept just like as we read it, right? For example, like if we read a novel like this, we read it once, or maximum twice. Then we are done. We can keep the book aside because we know the story. But when it comes to a book like Bhagavad Gita, you can't do that. When you come to a book like Bible, you can't get it one time or second time. You have to come to that over and over and over and over again within one's like several times, many times in person's life because the way you see one thing, the way you see about a line in the Bible or a line in the Bhagavad Gita, the line in a sacred text can be the meaning changed with your life experience can appear to be a different idea, right? So the idea changes, the text changes, the meaning changes, the significance changes the more you visit it, right? The more you see, the more you read it, the more you know, right? With as you mature, right? So it's not like a book, just you can read it once and keep it and wipe your hands saying that I am done. No, you can't be done, right? With a book like this. That's what the idea here is. And here, Mahatma Gandhi read it to us every day. Mahatma Gandhi even read Bhagavad Gita every day because is it because that Mahatma Gandhi doesn't know the Bhagavad Gita or he thinks that we don't know the Bhagavad Gita? No, because the importance, significance reappears and regenerates and recreates itself, right? Over and over again. True, true. All of them chorus. Like everyone agreed there, right? In a chorus. It's a kind of unison, right? Mahatma Ji placed his fight against Britain in the same category. The places was beginning to take on the look of a schoolroom, and that the pupils were not quite enjoying it became evident by the number of times Sivaraman got up to spit out tobacco, and the others went out to blow noses or take snuff. I mean, like now Jagan is going on right with his preaching, with his explanation, and Mahatma Ji placed Mahatma Ji means Gandhiji, right? Placed his first fight against Britain in the same category. I mean, like he's now explaining right the freedom struggle and everything, right? And the places were beginning to take the schoolroom. I mean, like now this is like just appearing like a schoolroom. I mean, like a teacher is there giving the lessons, and the students are here, right? And these are adults, right? These people are adults. Adults don't like to behave like schoolboys, right? In a schoolroom. and the pupils were not quite enjoying it. I mean, like for them, it's bloody boring, right? The heck is this, right? This man is just kind of going on, right? Even his boss, they can't do anything about it. They can't say like stop this stupid thing, because after all, he's the man who gives them salaries. They have to take part in it, right? Just like for us teachers, it's like sometimes the staff meetings, right? We, kind of bloody stupid people speaking stupid things, and we have learned even more than that things, that when we see these jokers, we internally laugh, and right, අපිටත් හිතේ ඉනහයි සමහරලාට මේ staff meeting වල, right, uh, some stupid people telling stupid things, right, and we are just listening. අපිට මුකුත් කියන්න බෑ as teachers, right? We are looking, just like in case of Sivaraman, right? We are also bored, right? And in your case, like sometimes you are as students as bored when some boring teachers are teaching, right? You can't tell those things to the teacher's face, but you still, right? And this became evident, and this is really came to life. I mean, this reluctance, this disgust to listen to Jagan. Sivaraman got up to spit tobacco, and like Sivaraman stand up and go and outside. He spits the tobacco and comes again, right? Once in a while he stands, go out, spits the tobacco, and comes again. It's kind of disturbing act, right? Why you have, when you chew tobacco, right? You get the spit, and tobacco spit, just like beetle leaves, you have to spit it away, yeah. Gila tuk gala gila gahala, and the others who to blow noses and take some are really gila nahaya hura, and outside, right? And some take snuff, and someone is just taking this kind of powder, right? Snuff, and inside, right? Uh, Everyone is doing certain kind of different activities that definitely show the listener is bored, right? The audience is bored. Boring, right? Even the captain, at very picture of good manners, at one point pretended to notice some intruders at the door and slipped away. I mean, like captain was listening to this, right, attentively, and pretended like, just looked like there was someone else is there, right? And just went there pretending there's some කවුද ආව මම දැන් ඒකට බලන්න ඕන කියලා ටක් ගාලා එතනින් නැගිටලා yeah නැගිටලා just like he walks away, right? He is also doesn't like to stay there, right? එක එක මාරු වෙනවා මරගොල්ලන්ට මාරු වෙන බැරි හින්දා ඒගොල්ලෝ එළියට ගිහිල්ලා එනවා අර එක්කෙනෙක් ආව විදියට එමීට මාරු වෙලා ගියා, right? That's the idea. Slipped away means he dodged the meeting, right? It was doubtful how long this could have gone, for these men, after all, flourished in the kitchen smoke and preferred frying to enlightenment. There you go. And like they also, Jagan felt like by these actions and reactions, right? How long can he just do this? I mean, like these people are used to kitchen smoke. These people are living in the kitchen smoke, right? They preferred frying. They loved the kitchen work than his enlightenment, than his theories of knowledge, right? They like to be in the kitchen. So it's very, Jagan felt like it's hard for them. Even he felt like inside, right? What he was doing is not effective. That's the thing, right? But for the everyone's relief, three visitors burst in. And just like at the same time, like everyone was happy for everyone's relief, right? Sometimes you also feel relieved, right? When you are saved by the bell. When teacher asks for homework or anything, and he comes or she comes just to check, right? When you haven't done the homework, if the bell rings, the period is over, you are saved by the bell. You are relieved, right? And the same way here, some three visitors suddenly came to the shop, and the workers were like, "Oh my God, thank God, right? I'm happy. Oh, coaching right? Something like that, right?" Visitors burst in. The captain strutted up. Strut up means walk with a lofty proud or gait, kind of a strut, right? And just like we are walking with a style, right? You are walking with a staggering kind of lofty and proud feeling, right? Ali Ulu right? Strutted up, saluted and ushered the visitors, and he went with swelling with importance. He went to the visitors, right? Saluted and ushered the visitors, led the visitors from the front into the place where Jagan sits, right? Visitors ushered the visitors before the throne where Jagan sits, as was his duty, and withdrew. He just introduced the visitors to Jagan and he went. Captain went away. The cooks lounging on the floor presented an odd spectacle at this hour when the business should be at its peak and the kitchen being in fire. Right when when these three visitors came to the shop, right, they saw the workers are sitting and in front of Jagan, and it's very odd, right? Workers should be working in a shop. නේ කඩේ වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ මිනිස්සු බිම වාඩි වෙලා බොස් දිහා කට අරන් බලන් ඉන්න හරි නිකන් හරි ආන්ද විතයි කියන හරි අමුතුයි විසිටර්ස්ලට. කුස්සිය වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ මිනිස්සු, right? බිම වාඩි වෙලා බණ අහනවා වගේ just like totally out of the picture, right? They are just like, it's a weird scene, right? Odd spectacle. That's it. That's the idea. It's like a very odd, peculiar kind of a sight. At this hour, when business should be at its peak, actually business has should run at this moment, right? There's no business, no people. I mean, like no stuff made. People are there maybe, but no stuff is made, right? The kitchen belching in fire means kitchen should puff fire at this time. And like kitchen, the fire should be rising, right? It's like belching. I mean, like making sounds like this belching sounds, right? But nothing is there. Jagan became incoherent and effusive. I like Jagan became incoherent. Means Jagan cannot speak. Jagan got out. I mean, like he ran out of words suddenly, and again, වචන උගුර හිර වෙන්නේ නැති ජේකන් කියන්නේ මේ unexpected cousin මේ visitors ලාපු ගමන්. I mean, like they are significant visitors, it seems, right? Uttered with unrestrained enthusiasm, like that's effusive when he recognized his visitors. Now, suddenly Jagan identified who are these three visitors, right? One was a Seth from Ananda Bhavan, the boss of Ananda Bhavan. Seth is the boss or the proprietor, sole proprietor of Ananda Bhavan. Like he runs Ananda Bhavan. He is in Jagan's shop, right? Now, why is this? Is this a kind of a visiting purpose? What's the purpose of this visiting? Right, we'll find out. And the man who built an enormous business on eating within a span of 15 years, although he hailed from a province 1,000 miles away. I mean, like, yes, this Ananda Bhavan Seth has earned so much money. He's built an enormous business, right? He has been a wealthy man and of doing a business of food, right? And he has done this business for like 15 years in Malgudi, and the second ran canteen at the lower courts. I mean, like lower courts where is the courtrooms, right? Where is this what you call this legal proceedings are going on? In that low court there was a canteen, and the second person was doing the canteen there. He's again connected to the food business. And the third man, who had a white beard, was a stranger. There's a third man in this company. I mean, like he has a white beard, right? Totally white beard, just like totally white, right? And that's a stranger. Jagan has not seen him before. He's a newcomer, right? He's the first time Jagan saw him, right? And perhaps someone's brother, Jagan reflected. This white bearded man may be Seth's brother or the low canteen man's brother, someone's brother. I don't know, right? He thinks. And Jagan reflected, what an hour, he kept repeating, and almost embraced them. I mean, like, what an hour means such unexpected time, right? Like, nice to meet you. Kind of, that's the greeting, right? Almost embrace them means almost welcome them, right? His audience for Bhagavad Gita melted away unobtrusively. I mean, like the people who were sitting upright and waiting to listen to what Jagan said, reading his Bhagavad Gita. I mean, like melted means සට්ට පට්ට ගාලා පේන්නේ නැති වෙන කට්ටිය මාරු ding ගාලා මාරු, right? I mean, like for them it's like a big deal, right? I mean, like ambo, just like you also do the same thing sometimes, right? And away unobtrusively means without being seen. මේ පැත්ත බලනකොට මේ පැත්ත බලනකොට බඩු නැහැ බිම, right? ඔක්කොම මාරු, right? Unobtrusively. There were not enough seats for all the visitors, and there are three visitors, but there are no enough seats, right? But luckily the cousin stool was available today, and Jagan fussily, busily, fancily offered it to the bulky Seth, right? So Jagan was sitting in his chair, like important chair, and this small stool, he gave it to bulky Seth. Bulky Seth means Seth is heavy, Say it's a heavy body. It's like he's well built. Huh? Just like imagine a big man sitting in a small stool, right? It's not even bigger than Jagan's chair. We know that, right? It's a low chair, right? And the captain bought an iron chair from the soda shop next door, which Jagan allotted to the low-cost canteen man, leaving someone's brother to fend to himself and resumed his seat on the throne. I mean, like it was impossible for him to occupy any other position within his hall. I mean, like the idea is the captain went to the soda shop next door. Next to Jagan's sweet shop, there's a soda shop. What do you mean by soda shop? Are they selling only soda? No, soda is a term, umbrella term, right? You know what is umbrella term? Umbrella term is a big term. Under that big term, there are so many other things, right? That's why it's covering. It's like a shelter. We call it umbrella term. Soda is umbrella term. Umbrella term. It's a big term. When we say soda, so many other sodas comes on. Like it may be cream soda, it may be Fanta, it may be. I'm like, yes, these are the names. I'm not saying those are exactly the things it was there. When you say the word soda, it means all the carbonated drinks. Soda is a carbonated drink. Carbonated means carbon dioxide is pressurized into water. That's how you make soda. When we say soda, it's not only this carbonated water. It can be other things like Fanta, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Sprite. In that shop, there are so many other sodas, other types of sodas are sold, right? So when he we say it's a soda shop, in other words, it's a cool drink store that offers so many sodas, right? So he went to the soda shop next door. With Jagan allotted the low canteen, and he brought some iron chair from the soda shop, right? You see this thing, and this iron chair was given to the low canteen man, right? The canteen, the person who was doing this canteen in the courts is the low court canteen man. And leaving someone's brother, leaving this white bearded man to find a chair on its own or seat somewhere on his own, he didn't attend to that, right? Because he's a total stranger. And resumed his seat on the throne, and Jagan sat on his throne, right, his chair. It was impossible for him to occupy any other position within this hall. I mean, like, it's impossible to Jagan to sit anywhere else. I mean, he liked to sit on that chair, particular chair, right? He's comfortable. So he always sits in his chair. He don't want to give his chair to Seth or low canteen man or anyone. He only sits in his chair, right? Someone's brother stood about uncertainly while they talked of politics. I mean, like that VIP that man was standing now, right? He didn't have a chair. Only Satan, the low canteen man, had the chairs, right? Stood about uncertainly while they talk of politics, the weather, general market condition for an hour and half an hour before coming to the point. There you go, right now. Before coming into the point, people they were talking about other things, right? Like politics, uh, weather, general markets, right? That's the way, right? Normal people associates, right? When people strangers meet to each other, when they want to talk, they talk about cricket normally, or they talk about weather, right? I mean, like if two people meet and if they are talking politics or weather, you are totally sure, make sure, right? Surefire way, in a surefire way, these are strangers. Right? If people know who, if friends meet each other, they don't talk about weather or politics or things. They talk about other things, right? Some close things. When strangers meet, they talk about. Just notice these things, right? And so I told it today, right? The teachers are told this. Now you have to observe it, whether I'm telling the truth or not, right? Right. So that's here. So they are kind of strangers. So they are talking about politics, weather, general market conditions before coming to the point, right? Then the Saint asks, suddenly Saint asks, coming to the point, what is that you have been trying to do during the last? What are you up to? What is going on here? What is this price reduction and things, right? Saint asks, right? Coming to the point now. 4 days, said the brother. I mean, like the white bearded man said, like, now 4 days this has been going on. The Saint added, Saint immediately introduced, right? He is our friend. This guy, the white bearded man, is our friend, right? So he can also participate in this talk. Jagan threw a smile at him and encouraged the bearded man edged nearer and sat on the platform at Jagan's feet. Right. So Jagan threw a smile at him. Jagan gave a smile first time for the bearded man and encouraged the bearded man. Said the bearded man, "Come, sit here, somewhere around here." Now we know Jagan sits in a platform, right? This chair is on a platform. This chair is not a big chair. It's a kind of a short chair, but still it's on a kind of a platform, right? So there's space in the platform to sit as well. So come sit somewhere. So the bearded man come and sat somewhere around Jagan's feet, right? The sage said, "You are making a drastic reduction in the price of sweets." I mean, like you are making huge reduction, drastic, enormous, unbelievable, right? Drastic, sudden, big reduction in the price of your sweets. He says, "Yes, maybe know why. What is the reason? Can we know the reason why you are doing this?" "So that more people may enjoy the eating of sweets," replied Jagan with a beatific smile. Uh, I mean, like, the idea is, right, okay, when Sait asks what is the reason, Jagan gives the reason, right? Because so many people can have the sweets. With a nice smile, he said this thing, right? The others looked shocked at his heresy. I mean, like, others looked surprised, right? Others looked shocked, looked unbelievable of this heresy. Heresy, what is heresy? Heresy is kind of a uh, belief that is against the normal beliefs, right? Heresy. Heretic means if you are a heretic, you are kind of radical. You are kind of a person who believes what other people don't believe, right? So other people become offended. Other people become disgusted with you, right? So kind of they looked in shock, like, what the heck is this, right? What are you talking about, right? Heresy. What prevents more people from eating at the right price, right? I mean, like, uh, so one asked from the crowd, probably say it, right? What prevents more people from eating at the right price? I mean, like, what is the wrong in people eating things at the right price? Paying little extra, but still, eating. What's wrong with it? Is that a bad thing, right? The price of the stuff itself, said Jagan, hitting upon a lucid explanation. I mean, like, the problem is prices. If the prices are reduced, many people can eat. Right? Said Jagan, hitting upon the lucid explanation means a clear. Lucid means clear explanation. Is bad business. Said the canteen owner. That's not the way it should go, right? This is bad business. Bad business means the business under the belt. And means like when you do things, bad business means doing things not in the commonly accepted way. Commonly anticipated common ethics of business are broken in bad business. Either it is hitting below the belt. I mean, what do you mean by the idiom hitting below the belt means? In boxing, right? In fights, so when you have the belt, it's always accepted to fight on the bust, right? On the face or head or chest or shoulders, whatever, above the belt. What is under the belt? You normally have your private parts, right? So you are not supposed to hit the private parts when you are in a fight. Yeah? ෆයිට් එකක් කරන ගමන් උඩට තමයි ගහගන්නේ. බෙල්ට් එකෙන් යටට ගැහුව ගමන් අවුල් වෙනවා නේ නිකන් අර ඒවට ඇදුනට පස්සේ නිකන් මේ ඒක it's not good, right? So that's the idea here. So even in a business, it's a bad business. It means like it's not acceptable, right? Said the canteen owner. In answer, Jagan said, "I am unhappy, my distinguished guest, that I have nothing to offer you. All our trays have become empty an hour ago." Jagan said, "I'm really sorry, my dear friends, my distinguished guests, like very important guests, right? I don't have anything to give to you, any sweets to give to you. I'm sorry. All my sweets are finished." In other words, when that person says the bad business, Jagan says something like, "I'm sorry, I don't have anything to give to you. Everything's over. Everything's sold out." Then listening to that, Seth said, "Then that is good business." Seth said, you see, right? Then Seth immediately says, "Aha, then that is good business." With a twinkle in his eye, shining in his eye, because even Seth knows, right, in his shop there are leftovers sometimes, right? Some days you can't sell everything. But you do selling everything within 1 hour, wow, it's big business, it's like good business. Said with a twinkle, with a shine in his eye. He's happy, right? Jagan accepts the compliment with a knowing nod. Yeah. He also not and accept that, right? Looking gratified at his own cuteness. But why should you spend all our business? Like, why should you upset all our business? I said, okay, that's good business. But why are you upsetting our business? Like, our business are affected now by your actions. Maybe because Jagan is giving reduced price sweets. People who goes to the Ananda Bhavan, most of the business people come here now to Jagan shop, right, to buy cheap sweets. So Ananda Bhavan is losing business. So that's why he's asking, but why should you upset all our businesses? Ask it. I will ask the customers who clamor here to go to your shop, provided you promise them pure quality. He says, right? Okay, now that's something hidden here, right? Jagan says, okay. I'll tell the people who comes to my shop. Don't worry, I'll tell the people to come to your shop, provided, but you promise me that you give the best quality food for them. And that's a big thing just to say to another businessman, right? In other words, it says like Anand Bhavan is not giving the pure quality stuff. Is the indirect message, right? Yeah, you have to be careful with these words. I don't know. I use the purest butter for frying and the best flavors and spices. It's I say it, right? I don't know, right, what you're talking about. Yes, I use the best purest butter for frying and best flour and spices. I use the good ingredients, best ingredients in the market. And Jagan says, right, and yet you say you are able to sell a packet of 425 paisa? Right, Uh, sorry, I missed something, right? So when Jagan said that, promise them pure quality, Seth immediately says, right, do you mean to say that we don't use pure stuff? Are you telling us that we are not using pure stuff for cooking? Is that what you're meaning? I said, right? Jagan says, I don't know. I use the purest butter for frying and the best flour and spices. I don't know about you guys, right? But I use the best stuff in the market. I mean, like pure stuff for my stuff, right? My sweets. And Jacob, like said, immediately asked, and yet you say, and you are using this best stuff, and are you saying me that you are able to sell a packet for 25 paisa with all these expenses? And are you telling me, are you joking? In other words, right? And you are telling that you can sell this for 25 paisa? They laughed at the joke. Oh, they laughed at the joke. Means everyone laughed, right? I mean, like, this is totally uh, out of calculation, right? I mean, like, you can't do that. You go into the business, right? The Seth went on, and Seth went on explaining, in 1956, I used to do that myself, but now where can we get a pure stuff at the right price? Okay, in 1956, I gave the same food item somewhere around 25 paisa, right? 1956. It's like 56. Sometime back, yeah, in the old days, food are really cheap, right? Now, how much is a loaf of bread? You go to the supermarket, you get it somewhere around. I mean, like nine. I don't know, right? Check the price. It's very expensive, right? Somewhere around 200 rupees. I don't know what's the price when you are watching this video, right? But I remember when I was a child, I bought the same loaf of bread somewhere around 35 rupees or 30 rupees maximum, right? 30 rupees. So in back days, in old days, the prices are reduced, right? So he says, like in 1956, I used to do that myself, but now where can we get pure stuff at that price? I mean, how can we sell sweets under such a minimum amount, right? In old days, yes, I did it, but nowadays you can't do it, right? That's simply the idea, right? And when Seth said this, Jagan says, I can help you to get the supplies if you like. As Lord Krishna says in Gita, it is all in one's hand. Make up your mind and you will find the object of your search. I mean, like, Jacob immediately says, replies, right, to say, I can help you to get the pure stuff if you want to. Pure good stuff, right? For your supplies if you like. As Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, it is all in one's hand. Choices are personal. That's the idea, right? All one hand. Make up your mind. If you fix your mind to do something, you will find the object in all search, right? I mean, like, the idea is if you want to do something, you will find the means of doing that thing, right? There are so many idioms saying this in English as well, right? The bearded man sitting on the platform butted into a remark, means he struck the remark. He said suddenly, ah, the Gita is a treasure, truly a treasure house of wisdom. Oh, yes, yes, Bhagavad Gita is such a book with such wisdom. The bearded man immediately interfered into this conversation, right? I never spend a moment without reading it, says the other, right? And now it's the word Bhagavad Gita. One can go on reading it all one's life, agreed the saint himself. And the canteen man said, yeah, we all know it, right? And the saint also agreed, right? Yeah, yeah, one can go on reading it all one's life. I mean, you never get tired of Bhagavad Gita. You read it, you get more wisdom. You reread it, more wisdom. You reread it, it's good to more wisdom, right? The more you see, the more you get, right? And agreed the saint, but canteen man cut the conversation short. We all know it. There's nothing new in that, right? It's we all know that, right? It's not new knowledge, right? The Gita it also says every man must perform his duty in the right spirit and the right measure. Do you think you are doing that? He assailed Jagan directly. So the canteen man asked, assail means attack Jagan from a praise from the Bhagavad Gita itself, right? Asking, Gita says every man must perform his duty in the right spirit and the right measure. I mean, according to the Bhagavad Gita, everyone has to do his duty in the right amount, in the right way. The canteen man is asking, right, are you doing the right thing in the right way? Right? It's a direct question. It's a direct attack on Jagan, right? Jagan's composure was lost. I mean, like with these words, Jagan's composure. Composure means the disposition, the calmness, and his placidness, his retained position lost. He got little angry. He got little upset with this, right? He merely said, he just said, oh, and covered his confusion with a simper. Simper means a silly, self-conscious smile. I mean, like, hmm. And he just smiled and just didn't answer that question because he was upset, right? He just covered himself. He didn't jump to say anything, right? Now, the saint, lean forward. Now, at this moment, saint lean forward, just bend forward as if to speak a secret, right? Now, see, lean forward to say with all the grimness he could muster, I mean, like with all the strength that saint could have, right? He summoned that, he got that courage just to say these words. If one person does it, all the others will do it also. Are you aware of that? And if you are starting this, the other vendors here will start to do this as well. Just sell things in low cost, right? In a cheaper way. Do you know that? Have you any idea of that? How about other people start the same thing? What happens? Right? Jagan's mind did not take in the implication of his statement, but he felt he outmarked to match its sharpness and answered, I mean, like, Jagan's mind did not take the implications. I mean, Jagan's mind did not think about the outcomes of this statement, right? What if others do? What happens if the others do? The business in Malgudi falls down, right? I mean, like the traders, the vendors will go out of business, okay, and that's not good because they has to have a healthy balance between business and customers, right? Prices. But now what happens is, with this question, Jagan didn't think those things. Jagan simply said, What if they do? What if the other people also just reduce the price? So what? That's the idea. So is that the line you wish to take? Asked the canteen man. I'm like, is that the purpose? Is that the motto? Is that the line? Is that the way of business you are going to do in the future? I mean, like, reduce the price and go ahead. Is that what you're going to plan? Jagan, wondering what there was so sinister in taking the line, mumbled some irrelevancy and suddenly shouted. I mean, like, Jagan couldn't answer this, right? Answer this question. So he mumbled means said something. Irrelevant means not into this context, right? Something outside of this context. And suddenly shouted, Captain, Captain, get 4 drinks for this gentleman from the soda shop. Go to the soda shop and bring some drinks for these people for this, right? I mean, like, he didn't answer this. It was a very angry question. Is that the line you wish to take? Instead of answering, he ordered the captain just to bring some drinks, right? There were murmurs of refusal from the assembly, but they softened towards Jagan. The Seth said, I mean, like, there were murmurs of refusal means like they were no one. Some said like, no, I don't want drinks. Some others said, no, no, I don't want drinks, right, from you. Something like that. Not they are not saying I don't want drinks from you, but it says like something like that, right? So some kind of refusal was there, right? Anyway, but they softened towards Jagan. But anyway, they spoke soft, approach in a diplomatic way, Jagan, right? And said, oh no, don't take all the trouble, sir. I mean, like, why are you troubling yourself, right? Don't take the trouble. That's the way, right? Even when you go to a house, right? Neighboring house or some acquaintances, and they are trying to prepare. Take up මේ තේකක් බොන්න ඕමනාව තියෙන හොඳටම right නෑ නෑ නේ දැන් බීලා ආවේ අපි තේකක් මේ දැන් බීලා ආවේ අනේ හදන්න එපා මහන්සි වෙන්න එපා right. That's the way you react. You initially refuse. Then the other person go on pressing. Right? Nah. Apike take up uncle, right? That's how the society works, right? So same way here, right? Uh, oh no, don't take all the trouble, sir. We have come to talk serious business. We are here to talk serious stuff. Let us go through it first. Let's finish this business first. Like, I need answers. I mean, we have to talk something here. Business first is my motto always. I mean, like, business is first is my motto means punchline. The motto means is another way, a kind of a line that has a truth for certain person, right? When you go to work site, it says the motto is safety first. It's a motto, right? If you go to a construction site, you have to wear the helmets and everything. Then there's big placards saying safety first. It's a motto. So here, for this guy said, business first. Not eating, not chatting, not gossiping. If you are in somewhere to talk business first, right? Otherwise, how can we get on? That must be the beacon light of conduct for all businessmen. The only philosophy, said the canteen man. Yeah, that's true. Unless how can we get on like businessmen, right? That must be the beacon light. That must be the very important light of conduct for all businessmen. That is the underlying truth, the bottom line for any businessman. Business first, right? All other things are secondary, right? Uh, and the bearded man quoted a passage from Upanishads which proved nothing. And the bearded man was sitting in the Jagan's feet, near Jagan's feet, said some line from the Upanishad. Doesn't make any sense in this context, right? Uh, what are we all talking about? Asked Said suddenly. And suddenly Said asked, what is the point of this conversation? Like, what are we here to talk about? Asked Said suddenly. Jagan and the rest said nothing. Jagan didn't say anything, right? The Saint, who was evidently the leader of the delegation, continued. Uh, Now, why I'm here? What I'm going to talk right now? What are we going to talk right now? Said, and said was evidently means surely, apparently, as he looked like the leader of the delegation means the head of this team, head of these 3 people, right? Who came. And he went on saying, uh, my time is precious. My time is very valuable. In other words, I'm in this shop. Even I had like 100 other business and like 100 other works to attend. I'm here. I mean, like, my time is very important, right? My time is precious. Uh, At this hour I am hardly be able to leave my counter, and yet I have come. Does it now show the seriousness of the business that has brought us here? I mean, like at this time, it's a peak time, right? I mean, like peak sales hours. Says it's very hard for me even to stand up from my cashier, from my counter. A lot of business are coming. I have to do the money matters, right? I have to relate to money matters. And here, even that, even I'm required there in my shop in Anand Bhavan as businessman who's very concerned about business. I'm in your shop right now. Does that not show how important the fact that we are going to talk with you? Don't you get the idea? Right? Ask said, right? The canteen man said, "It is nearly a year since I visited this part of the city." The canteen man said, right, yeah, me too. I didn't come to this part of Malgudi for right now a year almost, right? Even they are living in Malgudi, they have not traveled because they are so busy with their businesses, right? Where can I find the time? There you go. I don't have enough time. Each man is busy in his own way, said the bearded man. Bearded man also once in a while adds a line, right? Each man is busy in his own way, right? I am very glad to see you all here. We must all meet once in a way like this and discuss our problems, said Jagan, feeling that he had been left out too long. Because Jagan was silent for so long, Jagan said immediately, right? Taking part in this conversation, I'm very happy. I'm very glad to see all of you big business people, the big shots in Malgudi, right? Here, once in a while, we should meet to discuss our problems, said Jagan. An interesting supposition, right? Interesting proposal Jagan made, right? Uh, I am very happy that you should think so, said the saint. I also very happy. I'm very glad that you said that, Jagan, right? Look genuinely relieved. I mean, saint also feel relieved. I mean, like before this, we remember there was a little contention between Seth and Jagan, right? I mean, like when Cousin speaks about Seth, Jagan didn't want to listen anything about Seth, right? Or another Bhavan, right? Can you remember? I mean, why doesn't want to listen anything about another person? Because you kind of dislike that person, right? So there's a kind of a friction. There's a kind of a friction between Jagan and Seth from the beginning of the novel. Unison is strength, said the bearded man. He attempted to illustrate his thesis with a story from the Panchatantra. I mean, like unison is the strength means like all people getting together. Samagiya balaya way. That's the idea. He wanted to take the story from Panchatantra to elaborate this idea, like the unison is strength, and the bearded man just tried to start a story just to elaborate this, right? There was once upon a time, he began. This was too much for the delegation, and it's too unacceptable for these people, right? We are really busy people, right? Big shot. And this is too much, means like this is too excessive, too much for the delegation. And the Saint cut him short with, say, cut the short story, right? Is the attempt he's going to say, tell a story. Of course, Panditji, right? Of course, educated man, Panditji, who's a Pandit, right? Panditji, we all know the story and its moral, right? And we know the story, Panditji, right? In other words, like stop, 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 don't try to tell stories here, right? As I was saying, he went on, feeling that he had the first right to speak in this assembly. He went on feeling that he had the first right to speak in the assembly. As I was saying, we have many problems. I mean, like he was always asserting his voice, said, right? As the most important person in this meeting. Today, we all are bewildered and we ask ourselves why we should continue in business. I mean, like today, as business people, we are bewildered. I mean, like we are confused as business people, and we are asking the question from ourselves, like why are doing business in the first place in Malgudi? The times are hard for us, in other words, right? Exactly what I have felt, but I kept it more for the sake of my staff, said Jagan. But Jagan also added to what said by exactly that's my feeling towards business too. I am asking the same question, why am I doing business? I'm doing business for the workers, it's for the staff, sometimes, not for making any profit, right? That's what his meaning of business. Said Jagan, understanding the words in the simplest terms possible means He is getting the words in the superficial level, in the meaning of the upper layer. He didn't refer to the underlying meaning here, right? So simple terms possible. Jagan gave an answer, right? The Seth felt inspired to continue. Now, with this, Seth wanted to talk. Having fallen into the groove of talking shop, and now they are in the mood of talking, right? Just as if in a talk shop. Talking shop means everyone is talking. In TV, you have seen talk shops, right? Certain people come and give their ideas on, Doramadla can talk shop. Everyone is talking. It's like selling talk, right, for us, right? So it's like a talk shop. So now everyone is in this kind of a Doramandalama mood, right? Just a talk shop mood, right? Uh, there is really no answers to our problems. People mind their own business and think that we can somehow exist and continue to exist. How they expect us to continue is more than I can understand. Says one, right? Says these things, right? I mean, like there's no answers to the problems that we business people feel, business people experience. People mind their own business and think that we can somehow exist and continue to exist. People are not supporting us and they think that business people can go on, right, in their own, right, as we are strong people. How to expect to continue is more than I can understand. I don't know in this context, like this, how can we continue with our businesses, right? Said, genuinely voicing his problems, right? If we close our business for one single day, then they will know, said the canteen man. Yes, yes, correct. If we stop our business for one day, these people will know how important we are, right? For example, like that's what the idea of striking, right? Sometimes you get train strikes. What's the purpose of train strike? The people who are controlling trains, or the train people, train staff, are against something, some kind of idea, against some kind of, or they want a salary hike. They stop working for day just to show how important their service to the public, to the government. And what happens is, in that day, all kind of transportation get upset, right? People find it very troublesome. People find a lot of problems that day. So the idea is clear. How important is their line of work to the society? So in the same way, canteen man says, yes, yes, we have to stop one day our work so the people will see how important what we do. It could actually be more economical to close down our business, but we cannot do it. People would suffer. Innocent office workers, laborers, and students who depend upon us for their nourishment would be the real ones to suffer, said the Seth. Yeah, Seth also agreed, right? I'm like, actually, it is very economical at this point. I mean, like, it's very good at this point, right? It's a really good idea. It's very economical. Means very economical means very uh, plausible. Now you don't understand what is plausible, right? So it's like more economical means uh, it's a kind of a අපි කියන්නේ සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් ඒක තමයි economical කියන්නේ cost cutting thing, right? The most way to spend, to cut the spending, unnecessary spending, is being economical. It's kind of a savings, right? The most good way to save money at this moment is to close down our business, is to just stop doing business. So we have what the money earned, we have it with us, right? That's all. But we cannot do it. Why we can't stop our business? Because laborers, students, everyone, so many people are depending. It's coming to me for food. So if I stop the business, I am not doing justice for these people. So in the other words, I am doing this for the people itself, not for myself, right? It's like a service I'm doing. Say said, right? For their nourishment would be the real ones to suffer, said the said, feeling as if he were a benevolent angel conferring boons on humanity. He says like said this, like a benevolent angel means a good, virtuous, kind of a very sympathetic, kind, just like a nice angel. Conferring means, write down, a kind of a grant, qualification, title, right, or possession is kind of conferring boons, means blessings on humanity, as if, in other words, say appears to be like a saint with these words, right? හරියට සේ නිකන් දේව දූතෙක් වගේ මිනිස්සු ගැනම හිතලා මිනිස්සුන්ට ආහාර දෙන්නම මේක කරනවා කියන එක තමයි මේ වචන වලින් එන්නේ. හරියට අපේ පොලිටිෂියන්ස්ලා වගේනේ අපේ ජනාධිපති වෙන්න, අපේ අගමැතිලා වෙන්න, අපේ മന്ത്രിලා වෙන්න මේ මිනිස්සු දෙන මේ එෆර්ට් එක, මේ මැරෙන මැරිල්ල, නැහින නැහිල්ල හරියට අපිට සේවය කරන්න තියෙන ආදරයට තමයි මෙයාලා මේ දේ කරන්නේ කියන අදහස. Something like that, right? So in other words, the irony here is they are not doing it for that, right? They are doing it for their own sake. In other words, say it is a man who's getting a big profit out of his business, but what he says is like, I want to stop my business, right? I prefer stopping my business. That's the most economical thing to do. But I do this thing just because other people like laborers, students, and so many other people depend on my business for nourishment, right? For food. So he was excessively fond of the word problem. He had mentioned the word so often that Jagan felt constrained to ask, what problems? Now Seth is talking about problems he's facing in his business. And Jagan felt like asking, what problem are you talking about? Being a businessman? What is this? He felt like a constraint means he can like a force inside. He constraint means he limit. He didn't ask, right? He Jagan felt to ask, but he was constrained, kind of limited, right? What problems are we talking about, right? And anyway, Jagan asked this question, like, what problems are you talking about here, right? He wanted some enlightenment. He simply asked her. Both the sage and the canteen man turned an astonished glance at him, if they could hardly convince anyone of in his sense asking such a question. I mean, like, canteen man and sage gave a glare. They are like so surprised, astonished, right? Hardly convince anyone in his senses, right? If anyone is in proper senses, they would not ask such a question, such a dumb question, as if this is a dumb kind of stupid, kind of a dumb question, right? No man, no rational man would ask such a question. That was the idea here, right? They were surprised just to see Jagan ask this question. Both of them started to talk at once. I mean, canting man opened his mouth and Seth opened his mouth at the same time, right? And the voices clashed. I mean, like, their voices clashed. The canteen man is opening his mouth because to reply to this stupid question, and the Seth also opened his mouth, but a lot of noise, right? The voices clashed and became indistinguishable, as they said. I mean, like two voices at the same time, you can't understand what is particularly what is what voice, right? And the sales tax inspectors, one guy says, right? See, the sales tax inspectors who will not accept the accounts we render. I mean, like the sales tax people who comes to our shop just to check the taxes, right? How much our earnings are, how much the government has to have. I mean, like in every product, you should know there's taxes, right? Every product, there's a taxes. Yes, there's a taxes. The product has to pay to the government. Every service has a tax, right? Every shirt you wear, every material you wear, everything you buy, government takes taxes from that. That's how the government runs, right? That's the government's income. That's how government pays salaries for the teachers, school teachers. That's how the government give medicine for the people from the hospitals. That's how government pay pensions to the people, right? I mean, like retired people, government workers. And as well as the government expenditure, right? Everything is balanced by these taxes, right? So tax inspectors from the government comes to these shops just to check these taxes. Is this businessman paying sufficient tax, right? Is he earning a lot and paying little taxes? Then he'll be punished, right? So these taxpayers inspectors come, who will not accept, means who doesn't trust what we give them as accounts, right? And income tax people who assess arbitrarily, like income tax people as well, right? Comes to this, right? Tax inspectors, then income tax people, and then health inspectors comes like PHI, right? They come suddenly because these are food outlets, right? They check whether these are standard, these are hygienic, is the nice precautions were taken, is any dirt around? If dirt is there, it's not hygienic. If old food is used, if I mean like food that cannot be consumed, right? Of rotten things, if they found it, they seal the place. They stop the operations immediately. That's what the PHI can do, right? So there's a health inspectors, right? It happens in any food outlet, even today, right? Uh, so they come and inspect. The food control has particularly driven everything underground. I mean, like the food control, right? These regulations of these people has just destroyed so much, right? Everything underground. How are we to get the provisions for our recipes? Uh, I mean, like we have good recipes, but how can we make these recipes without the ingredients? I mean, like we have a lot of problems, right? And above all, the frying medium, what to fry now? I'm like, what to use to frying operations? We can't always use the Pyogi. Pyogi is bloody expensive, right? Pyogi. And the government forces us to announce what we use. And at the same time, government says us just to announce what we use. I mean, like, that's a government regulation as well. In every packet, in a food, take a milk packet. Now, right, when you get a chance just to inspect the milk packet today, if you haven't noticed this, you see carbohydrates, energy. You have seen those things, right? Everything is included. And what is in this milk powder? How it is made, right? Ingredients are in the packet, right? They say that these things are included. Preservatives may included or may not included, right? In every product, this is there. It's a government rule. If you are doing a product, if you are take a salmon tin, right, check what is included. Salmon this much, water this much, salt this much, right? They have given you the amounts. Why are they announcing that? Because there's a government regulation to do it. Definitely you have to display it. If you are doing a product, if you are not displaying such a product, you can't put that product into consumption, public consumption, right? The government will seize it. PHIs will take that and just throw it away, right? I mean, like, so now according to say, like now they have to announce like what are they using to fry. Is it pog or butter or something else? They have to announce it, right? So that is also a problem, right? To say it, force us to announce what we use. How can we do what when our customers like to be told whatever they may actually consume, that they are being served better butter, sorry, pure butter melted ghee, right? So the idea here is whatever they may actually consume, that they are being served pure butter melted ghee. I mean, like, how can we do these things? I mean, like, how can we announce the medium of frying, right? And uh, they may actually consume, right? Whatever they may actually consume. I mean, like, what are they using? What are they eating? In other words, right? They are being served pure butter melted ghee. I mean, like, how can we afford to give them these kind of very expensive things and just announce them, right? In other words, like, once in a while we have to cheat as businessmen, do some tricks, right? But now doing tricks is not easy with all these government regulations and income tax people, PHI, health inspectors, and other regulations and things like that, right? The idea about pure butter melted ghee are antiquated, said the canteen man. Yeah. These ideas of this using pure butter melted ghee is antiquated, it's obsolete, it's out of fashion now. I mean, like, no one is using this, and this is expensive, and those times are over, right? Said the canteen man. In fact, scientists have proved, and canteen man acts something, canteen man rationalized something, saying that the scientists have proved that pure butter and ghee bring on heart disease. I mean, like, we suffer with cholesterol, and when you use a lot of cholesterol, right, it'll thwart a healthy uh, system, right? So it will make heart attacks. So pure ghee can cause heart attacks, says the canteen man. The artificial substitute have more vitamins. I mean, like, artificial substance means artificial frying medium uh, has more vitamins, and they are not much cheaper either, said the other guy, right? Maybe probably said, right? So now see, even the other medium of frying is not cheap. right? Their prices are going up nearly to the level of pure ghee. I mean, like, as much as pure ghee, these artificial butter is like, other substitutes are expensive. They are not cheap, they are expensive too. But uh, when when uh, when this person says like this, right? I mean, like, why not use? Why we can't use pure ghee? It's obsolete. It's antiquated. It's out of the fashion. Says the canteen man. At the same time, even we use artificial substances. It's expensive as much as pure ghee too. And he gives another excuse. Another excuse is like, with ghee you have heart diseases and everything, right? So that's why we are using other substitutes. In other words, right? So I was listening to this, Jagan asked, so why not use POG? If it's the same prices, right? It's no difference in prices. Why don't you use POG? POG is a standard thing, right? POG is the standard fry media. I mean, like, it makes food really tasty as well, right? So you have to pay attention to these things, right? Said Jagan, which really irritated the visitors. And when Jagan asked this question, it made the visitors really angry, right? They were mustering their wits for a repartee. Repartee means kind of a reply, kind of a witty, fast reply. They were mustering their wits. Means they wanted to reply to this Jagan's question, why not use POG in a much more comprehensive, much more witty and clever way, right? The captain brought in 4 bottles of soda, and at this time, captain comes from the soda shop bringing 4 bottles of soda. Opened the first one with enormous pop. I mean, like, imagine, right? He's opening it with enormous pop means when you open the bottle, pop, and like onomatopic, right? It brings a huge, kind of, not a huge, I mean, like a big sound, right? Uh, Enormous pop and held the bottle dripping. I mean, like, effervescence, right? This froth coming out of the these bubbles are coming out of the bottle, and it's dripping, overflowing, whistling and hissing to the side. You know, all these onomatopic. See, whistling, overflowing, dripping, the same. Can you see the urgency the thing, right? You can visualize these things, right? When the bottle is suddenly open, right? Captain open it, like all the bubbles are falling down, right? Overflowing, whistling and hissing to the say to the courtesy due to the leader of the delegation. I mean, like, Seth gets the first bottle as a sign of courtesy, right? And the Seth said with some annoyance, I told you I want nothing, right? He said with some kind of unhappiness, right? Why bothering, man? I said you, right? I don't want anything, right? Said nothing. Jagan said, it's only soda, lot of gas in it. Take it, like, right? Okay, it's just soda, right? Lot of gas in it means like lot of carbonated water, right? No harm. Just take it. That's the idea. Jagan gives